At Cullinan Diamond Mine on the 25th of January 1905, an event that will go down in history occurred, with the finding of the Cullinan Diamond by Fred Wells. In some accounts, it is said that it was first noticed by a black worker who pointed it out to Wells. Who actually saw the diamond first is now lost in history.
I have a story to tell you about a Cullinan diamond. Perfect in every way.
She's perfect as an artist.
Spend an hour counting to 10. Feels like I'm lucid dreaming. Don't know it's fake or real. Feels like I'm lucid dreaming. Tell me that I am still here. Feels like I'm lucid dreaming. Don't know it's fake or real. Feels like I'm lucid dreaming. Tell me that I am still here. Wish I could be different.
Welcome to another episode of The Breakdown. I'm not going to start as usual. In today's show, I'm going to read you a poem. And no, I'm not a poet, but she is. This is Something New by Monelle. Right. My heart doesn't leap. It is faithless. It is the beat behind these cages. My ribs are just a home for the fearful. You have found a way to unhinge the door. Now, am I correct or am I wrong? But I think I found your Pinterest where you put all your poems at.
Yeah. When you said you're gonna read a poem, I'm like, yeah, okay. So I post all my poems on Pinterest. I released a whole book recently, not recently, like 2 years ago, called Wine Stains. And it's a collection of all the poetry that I've just ever written and refined and published. And Something New is just one of the poems that happened to make it onto my Pinterest. And Pinterest is my little escape where I post just images that I take in my daily life and stuff that I like, stuff that I find aesthetically pleasing, and that's where I share my more personal stuff. So yeah, it's really cool that you found that. That's dope.
So what did you want to convey with this poem,
Just overcoming your fears and being vulnerable with somebody, being vulnerable with yourself, and just that raw honesty of intimacy and how it can feel like.
Yeah. We started off a bit on a high note. Let's go down a bit. Well, we are joined by a poet, by a rapper, by a singer, and also a social activist and a mental health activist. That's a lot of titles. Most of the time we find that somebody puts so many titles to themselves while they only do one of them. But then with her, she does a lot, because I've heard her rapping, on the security clearance. I've heard her singing on her project. I've seen her poetry, So yeah, she is what she claims she is. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Monelle.
Thank you so much. Shout out. I try to do things that impact people, and I also just try to do as much as I can with the talent that I've been given. So yeah.
Yeah. So do you feel that you have managed to correctly intertwine your poetic mind to your musical heart?
Definitely. That's something that I always try to do with my writing, just try to express myself as much as possible. And the way that I find that is, having poetry and just imagery. I just love putting images in people's minds and seeing how people imagine the song and stuff like that. I just love music. I like bringing it to life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I love. It's important to me to write a song properly, and lyricism is something that is important to me when I'm creating songs.
Yeah. Yeah, and in a recent interview with Ya's student, Iordn spoke about how he's never actually met an artist who is so purposeful with their words, everything is calculated with you, There's a poem, I think it's a poem where you say, would you aim for my heart with a broken arrow? You know, to me, that sounds like even if you don't have yourself all together, would you put all that you have inside of you to approach me with the intention of love and security? I don't know. Is it somewhere
Yeah.
in those lines?
Yeah, I love that interpretation. Yeah, that's definitely it. Like, would you still put yourself on the line? Some people think like, nah, I can't, have love, or I don't deserve love because, I'm too like, I need to get my stuff together or whatever. It's just like, someone loves who you are, and it's just like, are you willing to like risk it all to just say, I deserve love and I'm gonna get it, even though I may not feel like I'm straight. So it's just like, you know what, just I love that interpretation because it's pretty much on the nail.
Yeah. And you went to an international school, right? You stayed overseas for a while. You stayed in France. You went to China too. Then you came back to SA, right? So out of all those places you've been at, where did you feel most at home?
So I don't know. I really don't feel like I belong anywhere sometimes. I just feel like in every single space, I feel a bit alien. But that's kind of what makes me like stand out, and that, I bring all these different things together, and it makes me like relate to a lot of different people. And I feel most at home when I'm in the studio, to be honest.
Yeah.
So when I'm making music, that's where I feel most at home, when I'm creating art.
Yeah. And some places you'd still like to travel?
I would still love to travel. I want to see the Northern Lights. I want to see, I want to go to Barbados. I want to go and party in Jamaica. Like, I just want to like see the world and experience different cultures. And it's always been a part of my music. And I feel like it's gonna have a part. It's gonna have a part of my music, and it's gonna feed into my life. I want to live a full life and experience a lot of stuff, and like So, I'm excited for what's next.
Yeah. And then when you came back to SA, like how was your reintegration? Like what things needed to change? Like what was the big differences?
It was actually really difficult because you would think that like everybody would be like super interested in you and stuff, and that does happen. But you also feel like, okay, I'm very different from everybody else. And there's this part of you that just doesn't like relate. And you have a choice to make, like, do I hide that from people, or do I like show it to people and just like be that person? Okay, I'm like kind of weird. But like, I think with my music as well, it's translated like of me like finding myself through my music. It's also reflected. I was finding myself in life and finding, my sound and finding who I am. So they're very parallel in the sense that I'm always kind of exploring who I am and how I relate to people, and, how we feel and our experiences, and, the things that we go through. And that's just like how it's translated into my music. It's just that's how my life has been. And the reception has been so amazing. Like when people are just like, damn, like I feel that song. I'm like, I'm glad that like we're on this journey together, you know what I'm saying? And like it's been really, really like refreshing and like really fulfilling, and it just makes me want to create more. And it's just I think it's played a huge part in my music, and just in me finding who I am and loving who I am.
Yeah. Did you grow up a tomboy? Because you give me those vibes. I don't see you as a girly girl,
I kind of did. So I am the last born, and I have 2 older brothers. So I had to like toughen up, or like they would like push me around and stuff like that. So like I grew up trying to play soccer with them. Like whatever they did, I wanted to do. I was like, I want to do that. They were doing backflips on the trampoline. I also want to do backflips on the trampoline. So like I had to just like toughen up sometimes and just like step up to the plate. I've always been surrounded by guys, and like but that's been like where I was introduced to like hip hop, and like being introduced to the street, and like that's how it's interweaved into like my music. I love hip hop. Like it's always gonna be a part of like who I am, what I listened to when I was growing up, what I listen to now, and it feeds into like rapping, feeds into my R&B and my soul. It's like the core of who I am, and I'm really appreciative of that. But like I'm a bit of a tomboy, but I can be girly. It's just I'm like it's like I'm like two different people. I'm really soft and sensitive, but I'm also like really tomboy as well. So yeah, it's just yeah. I always knew that I'm just like a weird combination of things, but like yeah, that's who I am.
And like, what are some of your favorite and specific childhood memories and stories of your time in Cullinan? Because you spent a lot of your time there, and that's where you feel most at home.
Yeah, definitely. So that's where my grandmother stays. So I would go and visit her like almost every weekend. Like I just want to stay with her. Every school holiday I would go there. So a lot of my childhood friends, we basically like I feel like I grew up with them, and we've been friends since like we were toddlers. And like basically all my childhood memories are from there, from like playing basketball, playing tennis, riding a bike. I learned how to ride a bike in those streets. And those are just memories that are just going to stay with me forever. Those people are like family to me. So I carry them with me wherever I go. And I'm always telling stories because that's like a home to me. And like, those are my people no matter what. And like, I'll travel the world and I'll be like, yo, I'm his cousin. No matter what. Like, those streets are like, they feel like home to me.
Yeah, you move around a lot, you know. How do you deal with, gaining and having to let go of many relationships and friendships all the time?
It's definitely hard. I recently just like lost a friend. I hate to say lost because people think like they passed away or something. Like no, like I recently just lost touch with a friend of mine that we've been friends for like years, and it's just like, oh, we're on different paths, and I don't. And it's just like your heart sinks, and it's just when life is just so fast paced, you know, we're all on our journey, we're all chasing something in this world, we all want to, you know, put our stamp on the world and go out on our own journeys. You find that you detach from certain people, and you know, some people are like, yeah, my New Year's resolution is I'm gonna cut off this person, that person. I'm like, no, I'm trying to create relationships, sustainable, strong relationships. I'm trying to have, you know, ride or die people in my circle. So yeah, I'm losing people. I find it very hard, no matter how many times it happens to me. Every time I lose somebody, it's just gonna, you know, affect me, and I take a moment to be like, damn, I really like appreciate that person's presence in my life, and you wish them well, but like it hurts, and you let go and you meet new people. But you know, it's definitely also had a hold on. Like I will write like a love song and it would be about a friend. I'll write a breakup song and it'll be about a friend. And it's just like relationships come and go. And yeah, it's definitely something I write about a lot because it happens, especially when you're, you know, chasing your dreams, and in the business that we're in, it's definitely something that happens frequently.
Yeah.
Sticky, icky fingers always land in your closet. I would sneak inside your room just to play your guitar strings. Remember you taught me chords on the day that you caught me. Music was just a fairy tale we both got lost in. Sipping sodas and ice packs, candy wrappers and bean bags. Over bicycle and East gas, we used to eat fast. Cause auntie said don't waste it while your childhood is booming. You gotta face the sun before you sign up for uni. We used to shoot hoops till it was too dark to see. You used to cry over songs, you used to cry over me. We didn't say much, but I remember the breeze. And that night's the only thing that I bother to keep. Lollipopping and daydreams and grandmama's cussing. Sunny setting in cars, babysitting my cousins. Before we knew the cost and the price of this money. Before trips to the park became a session.
And you spoke about how your grandfather will teach you acoustic guitars. Whenever you sneak into his room and you're caught trying to play it, how many instruments can you actually play? Did you master the guitar?
I actually, my whole life, I've just been like a fiddler with things.
Yeah.
And so he actually runs a church, and he would keep some of the instruments in his room. I would just be sneaking in, and I was basically the same height as the guitar, trying to like pick it up and like play it. And he's like, okay, let me teach you how to actually hold it properly and stuff like that. So he introduced me to music. I have like 2 guitars and I like barely play them. I have like a piano. I used to take piano lessons, but once I got singing lessons, I was just like,
you found your place.
And I'm glad that I used to play like different instruments, because I will like, when someone's producing for me, I'll be like, okay, so like, can you make keys that do this? I want the guitar to sound like this. And you actually can build a sound that can relate to the lyrics that I'm writing, because it's important to me, because those textures add to the story that I'm telling, they add to the images that I'm trying to create. And so I'm glad that like I was introduced to like instruments and singing and church and everything, and like it's played a part in like me becoming an artist today, definitely.
Yeah. So you've done musical, you've done plays and some acting. Tell me about that period, you know. Did you do it at church, or was it a workshop, you know, the musicals and the plays?
So when I was younger, I used to do everything, like sign me up. And I was like doing these like musical plays. We did Legally Blonde, that was my favorite one. Did Legally Blonde, and like on stage, we started singing and like doing musicals. But I like figured that out quickly. I'm like, no, I enjoy the singing part. You like acting and singing, and I'm just like, I just love singing, and I wanted to create my own content. But I love being in those spaces, which is also why I ended up like studying. I got my business degree, but I went to AFTA specifically because I wanted to be surrounded by people that did live performance and film and stuff like that, because they have a certain vibe and an energy and creative space. And I always surround myself with people from like drama spaces and from stage, because they have such great, crazy ideas, and I just want to bring that to the stage, the musical industry as well. So yeah, when I was just younger, I just loved being on stage. Like whatever, if it involved the stage, I was there.
Yeah, you met Iordn during a random studio session, and the first time you worked together, you made Bad Day. I'm sure you worked with a lot of people now. What sets them apart from all of them?
I don't know. We just like, he understood my vision. Like we did, I didn't have to like say too much or like direct him too much to be like, no, I want it to sound like this. It's like he understood like how to translate like my lyricism and my space into music. And from the first like session we had together, we like produced a beat. We actually didn't like, I didn't write anything. We just produced a beat, and it was just like a sonic experience, and we were just gelled. And immediately Bad Day was like made. Like a few weeks later, we're like, okay, we have a record. And it's crazy to think once it finally came out, like it was, you know, one of my biggest records on In Loathing memory. And it's just like, that was just what solidified it for me to be like, okay, we get each other, and we can take this really, really far if we can just hone our talents and like put them together. And once I got like involved in Redacted and the Redacted vision and everything, I was just like, you know what? I hit the ground running basically. I was just like, I get the vision, you get me, let's go.
Yeah. So it wasn't just good looks.
I mean, we're not mad at that. We're not mad at it. I love just the way that he works. And there's a lot of people that talk a lot. You know, I want to do this, I want to do that, whatever. But you know, he backs it up. You know, and like I that's what really, really drove me, because I'm like, I want that consistency, and I want someone that I can do business with, that I can count on. And our ideas are now coming to life, and that's what I love about Redacted, is that we stick to it, and you know, we do whatever we can to really make it happen. Yeah.
And you're a pastor's child. Now, I got really intrigued when you mentioned that you need to challenge spirituality, you know, in its essence. I'm just really intrigued. Challenge spirituality, but you're a pastor's child. Okay, that's
yeah, it's one of those things where I believe in like spirituality, and I don't really like religion with like really strict rules. That's a kind of background that I came from. My grandfather had a church, my dad is a pastor, and my mom is also ministering. And it's just like, you'll always have these expectations to kind of be perfect, to kind of, you know, never make mistakes, and like you get judged heavily. And it's And I feel like it's very like self-destructive, and I feel like it doesn't let people explore the essence of who they are and explore their true like have their personal experience with the world around them, because they're trying to fit into a box. And so I'm always challenging certain limitations, restrictions that put upon me and other people that I know who are unable to live like their lives because they're scared of like disappointing their parents, or they can't really challenge authority. It's like a touchy thing, but like at the same time, like it's something bold that I want to do and keep doing.
In addition to that, how do you navigate, for lack of a better word, the world of romantic, sensual, and sexual relationships while having religious parents, all those limitations that you just spoke of?
Definitely, like in my music, you will never like hear me explicitly saying anything that's like I always like allude to certain things, and that's always been who I am. I'm never like overtly like very sexual, but I believe that there's a sensuality and a spiritual connection that you have with someone, and that's what I want to bring, and that's what I want to tap into. And I have like songs that are coming out about that, and that is when you get to experience Monelle in a more sensual space, but that isn't explicitly sexual, because I like to use my writing to really create a space where you can feel the softness of things and the intimacy of things. And that's really what's important to me. And so exploring the both, I try to put them together and find like a balance and find a meaning in both, because I'm experiencing both for a reason. And I feel like this is my journey and I have to like tap into both. And I'm led by like what feels proper in like my spirit and like in my soul, and I don't just like like it's a intimate thing for me, and that's why I don't talk about it very explicitly like that.
There's a lot of people who don't know the life, like some of the pressures and unfair expectations that can sometimes get placed on you.
It's tough. I think you have to start with like little things, but also start with things that matter to you. Those are the things that are going to affect you the most and that are going to make the biggest difference in your life. And I think it's just deciding what matters to you, and is this the hill you're willing to die upon? And be like, I'm standing here and I am a tree that will not be moved. And no matter what people say, no matter if people change their opinion about me, people could wake up tomorrow and be like, you know what, we don't even want to listen to Monelle anymore, and that'll be it for me. And do I still create music? Do I still want to do this? Hell yeah. It's all I've ever wanted to do, and it's just like, is this what I'm willing to do for the rest of my life? And it's like, absolutely. And it's kind of a rebellious thing to say, I don't care about the naysayers, I don't care about what happens to me, I just care about my values, I just care about what I love. And and just bringing that to the table. Bring what you love to the table, bring what you love to the world. And that's it.
And you spoke about how you weren't really heard and you decided to stay quiet for a very long time. Do you feel like if you were given the time, you were listened to and treated accordingly, would the message in your music still carry the same weight, have the same impact? Let's say everything was perfect. Like, let's say you were catered to appropriately.
It's a really great question. I think even though I'm writing about some of the worst things that happened to me, I still find the light at the end of the tunnel. And there's always that little silver lining of just that hopefulness. And I feel like there might have been a little more of the hopefulness and the happy vibes and the life can be really, really good sometimes. Maybe more of those moments would have happened. But I definitely think the message of like keeping the hope and, you know, taking it on headstrong would have still been, you know, my message. But like, that's a very interesting question, because that's always the dilemma. It's like, oh, you're better off going through the tough stuff because you learn a lot. But it's like, damn, do I really have to go through the tough stuff? Maybe I don't want to learn.
I don't have to go through shit, you know, to be strong. I don't need to be strong. I'm better off weak. I'm if I don't get to
happy and weak, that's fine.
Like, you know, and
exactly.
It's not spoken about, but I think the somewhat blurry album cover, which is full of different colors, perfectly shows the direction that the EP will go for. And it's basically what you were just saying right now. For me, it's saying that the journey is blurry. It's hard to clearly see, but there are colorful moments. You know, just as you said, there's light at the end of the tunnel. That's just an observation I made. I'm correct in saying that.
I love that. Yeah, I definitely wanted to keep my retro vibe in there, but that's definitely what we're going for. It's just, there were other pictures we had, and I was just like, no, this one is the one. I love the color, but I love the colors, and it's also very like low tones and like cold tones, and it's just there are little sparks of like red and orange every like there. And yeah, your interpretation is perfect. I love people that actually pay attention, because I really am particular about the lyrics, about the sounds, the instrumentation, about the images that I use.
And Lucid Dreams is a song that explores your mental states after having taken prescription pills for your mood disorder. Now, for people who have never experienced this, you know, personally, or know someone, how would you say it is like, you know, that whole experience in itself?
So it's really surreal from when you get diagnosed with a disorder of some kind or a condition of some kind to when you get the medication for it and adjusting to the medication itself. There's disassociation. There's two different types of disassociation. And I have the disassociation where I feel outside of myself, where I'm kind of just like seeing my own life happen in front of me. And that's when I decided to write Lucid Dreaming, because I felt so detached from the situation. Like, damn, this is actually happening to me, and this is actually my life. And then when you start taking the medication and you just like feel kind of like different, and it's just like, am I who I am? Is everything real? And like you adjusting to this different mental state is a whole like trip, and it's a whole journey. And like, so I tapped into that to write Lucid Dream. And having going through that, and it's a very like lonely place to be, but it's also a very like personal, like intimate place to be with yourself, and you develop a strong relationship with yourself. So it's a bit of a trip.
You've also said that you really love Loud, you know, like a perfect example of this would be the song Good to Me, because you're so good to me, so good to me, you know. So like I remember watching your event at Day Real, right? Like it had me contemplating taking someone's daughter there, because wow, it was beautiful, man. Like it was beautiful until I saw the price of the place, and I was like, yeah, I died. I died when I saw the place, you know. Like, you know what, whoever she is, you know, the potential Mrs. Me, she's gonna have to make do with KFC, because anyway. So like, so like, I'm sure many would like to know, how do you go about being with a partner that has described mental disorders? You know, what should they be aware of? How should they behave? Like, how should they react to situations that they're really unfamiliar with?
That's a great question. I think I'm also learning as I'm going along. It takes self-awareness on both sides. But I think definitely someone who understands that like what you're going through is like not about them. So if I have a mood swing or like I'm just like, okay, today I'm just not feeling up to anything. It's not because I don't like you or like I don't want to hike with you anymore. I don't want to be around. It's not because like of that. It's because I'm going through something that has nothing to do with you. So you need someone that's stable, like in themselves, someone who's confident in themselves, so they don't feel like, you know, everything you do is attached to them. And also someone that one can give you space, but two also is a good communicator. You know what I'm like? You need to be able to talk and like, are you okay? Do you need space? Do you need me around? Do you, you know, do you need to talk to somebody else? Can I, you know, because sometimes, you know, they also need to understand that number three is they're not the person who's going to ultimately help you. You need to help yourself, but you need somebody who's able to communicate and aid you and like help you help yourself kind of, but that takes someone who can communicate and identify your needs. And it's really hard, to be honest. There are days that are really hard, but it's just about understanding each other's intentions and seeing past, you know, the little moments and seeing past like it's not personal. Like what people are going through, it's not personal. And like, yeah, we just build on that. And someone that's just understanding of what you're going through, and someone who's willing to learn. Like a lot of people don't know what you're going through. Someone who's willing to maybe read and like talk to other people that are going through it, and like, okay, get some sort of context so that they can understand you better. And that's, I think that's like those 4 top things that you need to have in someone. If you're wanting to date somebody who's going through or who has a mental disorder, that's definitely imperative. But we definitely deserve love too, though.
And like, I'm reminded of the Rick incident. You know, there was a lot of Twitter discourse and that video is TikTok, etc. People basically blaming the family, most especially the wife and friends, for not having done more to prevent the incident. Could they have done more?
I don't think so. Like I said, ultimately, it's down to you helping yourself. And ultimately, it's your mental space. It's your head. No one can get in there with their fingers and fix it. And no matter what they say to you or how much, and I also think about it myself. Like, what if I become like, I win Grammys, Emmys, whatever, and I still sit in my mansion? I'm like, damn, I'm still unhappy. I think about it as well. Like, what if that's, the situation? It's just, there's nothing that people can do or give you in the world. You can have everything, you can win everything, you can be that person, travel and do whatever, and you can still be unhappy or have a condition or be in a mental state that is negative, and these things can happen. So I don't think that people can still do their best, but it ultimately comes to the person inside themselves, what they're going through.
Yeah. And are you an overthinker? Do you find yourself having so many different and sometimes contradicting thoughts in your head? Because you said that you make music to tame a racing mind.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I just, like I said, I'm sometimes like really rough, really head on, really like in your face. And sometimes I'm just like timid and like soft. And it's just, I have these thoughts that are just like, always like racing in my head, and sometimes I use it as a superpower to be like really particular about like I overthink, and I'm very specific about how I put a project together and how I put music together. But then sometimes it's just like I wake up one day and it's just like I want to write a song about love. Like in the middle of the song, it's like, fuck you, I don't care about you. I'm like, whoa. Whoa, vibe switch. And it's just like, okay, girl, what's happening? It's just like, I have these meddling feelings, and it's because I've been very, very deeply loved, and I've also been very, very deeply hurt. And I've gone through so many things on the spectrum. And so I always have like these different elements, and I have to like, okay, focus. And also, I feel like music kind of is like meditation for me, but it's also like an outlet at the same time for me to organize those thoughts and kind of channel them and really like get them out properly.
And one of your lyrics was, I need a paper bag for breathing in. And that technique, according to Google, is used for regulating hyperventilation, basically for your anxiety. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah.
On a downswing and I'm mumbling inside. My confession is that I'm stressing, alright. If I told you that I'm trying, I lied. When the mood swings, I give the medicine a try. I think I should keep this to myself. I might just hit you up for the hell of it. I think I should keep this to myself. I might just hit you up just to stay a bit. I think I should keep this to myself. I might just hit you up for the hell of it. I think I should keep this to myself. I might just hit you up just to stay a bit.
And in old news, which is actually my favorite, we say, I might just keep this up to myself. I might just hit you up for the heck of it. It's like a perfect example of you speaking about being wary of oversharing, but also you want to spend time with this person. You know, it's like that, it's a fight within you, you know, okay, I want to speak to them, but I don't want to be overbearing or say too much, but I also want to do it. You know, it's like that, you know?
Yeah, definitely that's what I was going through when I was writing that. It's always a fight. Like, it's always like this with everybody you meet. It's just like, do I open it? Do I tell them? Do I not tell them? Do I spend time with you? Do I just stay in my room by myself? And it's just, it's definitely one of my favorites as well.
Yeah. The other time, I remember joining Luciva's live. You were being interviewed. Shout out to him. So I noticed some non-verbal things about you. You know, you seem very energetic. You know, you move a lot, especially your hand gestures. Like, your hand gestures are very important to you. You smile very often, like full smiles, and you're like a ball of energy, you know. When I look at your music also, it mirrors it, you know, it mirrors it because it's vibey, it's lovely, it's energetic, but the deeper meaning behind it paints a more darker picture of you, you know. I don't know. Yeah. Am I correct in
That's actually really on point, because this is a joke that we make in the studio all the time. Like, there's always like, yeah, Monelle's the type to like name a song Dark Days, but we're all like dancing to it. And it's just like, it's one of those, it's something that I've always done in my life, and I do it in my music. It's just trying to find like the joy, and it's just tapping into the, you know, the vibes. And it's weird because when I'm in a space that's really just like uplifting, I'm a very like open person. But when I'm like in a space that I'm kind of like weary and like I'm anxious, I just like clam. I like completely just shut down. And so I'm learning more to just, you know, tap into the joy and the vibrance. And there's just like two sides of me that just play.
Yeah, you call yourself a social activist, right? We rarely see musicians or just entertainers in general championing causes these days. I mean, a lot of people just worry about, you know, branding, or maybe the party is not gonna give them tenders or something, you know. We really you know, how do you feel about, you know, artists with a cause, you know?
I definitely think that I have a platform. I don't care how small or big it is. I have a platform and I can use it. And secondly, I'm going through something, and I feel like when you go through something and you know more than other people, then it's your responsibility to share that. Like, it's basic, you know? And I feel like it's my responsibility to tell people who might be going through, who might not know that, you know, mood regulators are out there, or that, you know, that you have anxiety, that what you're going through is depression, and, you know, how to diagnose those things and how to handle them, and how, you know, you wonder, oh, in my relationships, I always self-sabotage, but I never understood why, or I never understood, you know, like why, like, you know, certain things in my life are the way that they are until you heard that song and whatever. And I always try to speak further. Like, I'm not just gonna say like paper bag or breathing in, but I want to speak further and tap into that and be like, you know, to help other people as much as possible along their journey, because I think it's important. So I always talk about mental health, whether it's through my music or just in conversation. And it's just something that I stand for, and I think it's important. I think also in South Africa, especially because of how traditional we are, it's a very important topic that we need to bring into every single space, not just like in our spaces, in, you know, like every, you know, like in the workplaces, in our parents, in our aunts, like people in our families, like, okay, you need to go to therapy, like, okay. And starting those really difficult conversations and empowering people to do that.
Yeah, and expanding on that, what do you think could be done by authorities and people in the music industry as a whole to address the problem in SA, the mental illness problem?
I think they should, take notice. We are seeing it with AKA's girlfriend and with Ricky Rick recently as well. It's a very apparent issue. And I'm not just saying because it's celebrities, we should just like take notice, but it's so in front of our eyes. It's no longer something that's like, oh, it's happening there in the corner, and like, you know, and kind of like squash it and put it under the rug. It's just like, no, you can't do that anymore. It's happening. And some people might never find a community that to lean on. So they need to have that empowerment within themselves. And I think it's very, very important. And we just need to keep on.
Yeah. What do you define as success?
How do I define success? Every time like I get a DM from like a random person, you're like, hey, I listened to this song and like it really inspired me, or it like really like spoke to me, or like changed my life in ABC way. And like that's success to me. Like just that one person, just two people, just, you know, whoever that I can touch, whoever that I can move, that's success to me. And being happy in what I do. Like if I put something out, do I love it? Do I love it? And if I love it, then it's successful to me. And I want to change people's lives. I want to touch people, but I also want to, you know, have fun and bring vibrance to people's lives. And that's always just been that outlet for me. So just success to me is just tapping into people, relating to people, and changing people's lives.
Yeah. So I got a question from someone, you know. They asked me a peculiar question. They asked, how do you get a Monelle? Like how do I shire? You know, what words do I use?
Fair question. I don't even know. To be honest, if you're someone like me, you probably like really are like kind of standoffish towards people. Like, don't talk to me. Like I got a whole lot of shit going on that I'm trying to fix. Okay, like don't even try to get caught up in this net. So one, you gotta be brave. You gotta just risk it all and just be like, I'm gonna be in there, whether you like it or not. Because we will try to push you away, but you gotta be like, I'm not going nowhere. I'm not going nowhere. I'm right here. And be consistent. Like if somebody and that's how you get them on a some finesse. Some romance on there, some finesse on there, and I think definitely personally what I'm most attracted to is someone's creativity. When someone, I don't care what you do, like you can be a painter or a sculptor or a magician, I don't know, but like if you like love what you do and you get creative with it and you're just always just inspired in that space, and that's attractive to me. Because it's always giving of yourself into your art. And so hey, good luck to whoever.
I think also with me, like it's better to have, if you're creative, it's actually better to try get a creative partner, because they understand what you go through, they understand your process, they understand that, you know what, it's not it's not you or the music or you and this. This is me,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, you can join in if you want to help me, but a lot of the time you find that someone starts complaining. I mean, you spend more of your time with this than with me. Like, you're not in
Yeah,
competition, you know.
being a creative is hard work. Like it's 24/7,
Mm,
clocking into the studio, going to this place, going to that place, and like it's definitely more convenient when you have someone who's also flexible and who also understands the space that there's always moving parts in this industry. So you need someone that you can I'm flying out.
yeah.
And yeah, it's I don't know. I've always had relationships with like creatives. I don't know
Your type.
I don't know what it's like.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely having a creative in my life and being with someone that's creative has just it's just made everything so much better, and having someone who really understands what you're going through is just like a huge blessing.
Yeah. Now you've already released music videos, so what's coming up for the rest of the year?
I'm working on this EP.
Okay.
I'm not gonna share too much. And it's also tapping into a little bit about my family.
Oh, okay.
And how that plays into the person that I am today. And sonically, it's bringing a lot of like my old school R&B tones,
Yeah.
but like very, very like modern sounds, modern beats.
Yeah.
So I'm playing around and I'm having fun with the sounds and how they play into the mood. And I can't wait for y'all to hear it.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I must say that meeting you in person, wow, it gave me okay. You know what? I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but what I'm trying to say is that I really enjoy like your energy is, I don't know, it's transmitting through the data or whatever. Yeah. I don't even know, but you get me. You get me.
Yeah, I've also enjoyed this conversation. I love the questions that you were asking. Like they really, really are like unpacking my music. And so like I really try to unpack things in my music, and I'm glad that you're paying attention. It's really dope.
Yeah. So yeah, folks, here we have Monelle, and this is another episode of The Breakdown. Thank you to everyone watching. Thank you to Monelle. Thank you to Redacted. Thank you to Iordn. And yeah, this is another episode, and peace out. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.